No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? Ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. And rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising.
Thank you for staying with us. Now we're going to be looking at the latest flood alerts, and it looks like we are in big trouble again this year. Following an assessment by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency showing all indices that preceded the 2012 flood disaster were manifesting, the federal government has warned that 9 states on the axis of the River Niger and 3 others on the River Benue axis are set to experience floods. The states at risk of flooding are Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, Edo, Kogi, Anambra, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Delta, Taraba, Benue, and Adamawa. We have with us in our studio in Lagos Professor of Climatology, Emmanuel Oladipupo. Good morning.
Thank you.
And joining us from Abuja is the Director, Engineering Hydrology, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Mr. Eze Clement. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Now, that little introduction would have put the fear of the Lord in a lot of viewers, Professor. We had, at least in the Lagos area, the rains of yesterday were something else. They caused a lot of traffic. They caused a lot of discomfort, a lot of, you know, well, let's just say discomfort. If that which happened in Lagos is anything to go by, are we looking at something worse than that?
For other areas of the country or for Lagos?
For Lagos and for other areas, all the states which were mentioned earlier.
Thank you again for being with you. Every year, you may be calling me every year and others, unless drastic actions are taken, very proactive actions, and specific initiatives are put in place to be able to manage what we are facing. I must commend the government, for these 2 agencies, NIMET and the Hydrological Services, for being in a better position than before to provide some alert information to at least make people understand. But I think the critical issue is for us to accept the basics. God has helped Nigeria to make sure that every year our rainfall system will follow a peculiar pattern. Those that will occur in the southern part in May, in June, may not cause too much wahala. By July, as a result of the saturation of the soil from the June rainfall and the relatively higher intensity than the previous months in July, you are likely to have a lot of flash floods in the southern part. The system moves. By August, it may not be raining much in the south, but that is the peak of the rainfall in the north. And nearly 50 to 60% of the rainfall that occurs in the northern part of Nigeria occur in August and part of September.
August is when we have our famous August break.
August break here. But that's when they get the maximum. So the signature is warning us already. By the time it's moving from the south, the north should be getting prepared that, that's the way it for us.
Their turn.
By September again, it tends to return back to the south. But it will not be the very high rushing type. It's likely to be the very gentle.
That lasts the whole day.
That lasts 2 or 3 days.
Yesterday wasn't a drizzle.
Well, it's not the warm type, but it's continuous and can last 24, 40 hours and things like that.
We've
and it's
had
likely to
7 days
continue.
rain before.
Yes, and it's likely to continue even by tomorrow because the system doesn't move easily. I haven't checked what the NIMET is coming up with.
Are you saying we're going to have rainfall all through today?
We may have more or less,
And
but
maybe
they'll be ceasing and coming and ceasing and coming. And it's not everywhere, of course, no. But whatever it is, to me, nature has been kind enough for us to see. I've given you signals. So if any person or government is claiming ignorance and pretending that the months of particularly July, August, and September are months of when we should be expecting one form of flood or the other, then we are deceiving ourselves. Compounding this issue, of course, is that the two rivers in Nigeria, the two main rivers in Nigeria, do not originate from Nigeria. One came all the way from Guinea. But still an highland, Putajalan Highlands. So a lot of rainfall there. And that water takes a lot of time before it gets there.
Here into
There's always a lag. In fact, the lag is so interesting that when we think the rainfall has stopped here, the remaining water coming from Guinea and all the rest reach Nigeria around February. That's what we call the white flood in Kanji and all the rest. So, but that is not enough because there's not much rain anymore here. It's not enough. The other one that comes from the Cameroon mountain is the most treacherous of all because it's rushing from a very high place down to a fairly flat outside plain. And that creates a lot of problem. It takes a lot of sediments and a lot of water. And if you look at what is happening in Adama and everything, a larger portion of the Benue River had been silted in many areas. So when the water comes, it's pressed in many places. And then it continues, bringing a lot of water all the way to the Benue State, all the way to Kogi. And then the one from Kanji is coming again, and they meet
Prof,
and create more problems.
There are those who believe that all the water bodies in Nigeria are somewhat connected at one point or the other, so they kind of like flow into one another.
Yes.
Is there a problem with that flow? Because it appears the water levels continue to rise, especially going northwards.
No, there's no problem. All rivers must have some other smaller, the main rivers. Kaduna River is part of the Niger River. Ibi River and all those things are part of the Benue. So they all come together. What it's telling us is that it's just like the way the government of Nigeria is centralization. Should we be talking about a central area to manage? So the answer should be no. So if the hydrological, the basin of Kaduna is managed very well by an agency of government, that of Ibi is managed well, that of Sokoto River is managed well, then the way they will be coming to meet the main rivers will be very different. So my advice is that, yes, we have hydrological services, we have the water basin authorities, but we have not been able to put ourselves together and develop and implement. I think we have developed the master plan. Maybe the agency will be able to tell us more. That's the master plan. But are we implementing it? That will look at the whole of these systems very well and do what is called floodplain management, which will not mean that there will not be flood, but when the flood occurs, the water resources are used to the advantage of the people rather than allowing the water to carry the people away.
Okay. Mr. Eze, Prof has been talking about the rainfall pattern in the country and what it's been like so far and what should be expected. Let me reel out some statistics here about the effect of the rains across the states this year alone before we look at the flood alert. We have Cross River State, about 500 displaced, 321 houses destroyed. Enugu, 3 killed, buildings affected. Lagos, 2 killed. Kogi, 500 displaced, 40 houses, buildings wrecked. Jigawa, 11 killed, 30 families displaced, 220 houses destroyed. Taraba, Katsina, Gombe, Jigawa, Ogun, Niger, Zamfara, Delta, Yobe, Edo, Ondo. Now, these are states that were, some of the states that were affected by rainstorms in 2018. But when we come back after this break, you'll tell us, with this flood alerts now, is this supposed to be like a solution, or would it help in any way going into the rest of the year? Please don't go away.